Hello everyone, Simon here, and welcome back to our ARCHMINE100 series where we are learning architectural concepts through Minecraft. So in the last exercise, we did some lighting experiments inside this mausoleum here. We're not going to look at that today, we're going to come over here and build a city park on this island. Let's go get the instructions and then destroy the red wool. There's a bridge here too. I don't know if you want to do anything with this bridge right now. That can come later. So exercise 6 is City Park. The task is to design and build a park on this island. You may notice that the instructions are getting more and more vague over time. That's because, as the idea is that as you become more experienced with designing, I'm giving you more and more freedom to do what you like. That doesn't make things easier, that makes things more difficult for you. So this is pretty much the first real challenge of this whole exercise series, because you just have to design a park. I don't really tell you what else to do. The purpose here is to learn about landscape design and the human experience of human landscapes. That might be a mistake. Note, this island is big enough for you to divide into a number of smaller areas. You may wish to have a number of zones, each with a different character. Think carefully about where people walk and what they see. You may work with the natural contours of the landscape, or you may reshape the land completely. You may keep the existing trees, or cut them all down and plant new ones. So notice I'm giving you options. I'm not giving you instructions, I'm giving you options. So again, you're free to do what you like, but that doesn't actually make things easier. Paths can be highly geometric, or they can be naturalistic. Think of all the landscaping elements available to you: lakes, streams, bridges, sculptures, fountains, paths, walls, pavilions, flowers, shrubs, etc. So there's a lot of things you can do. What exactly you will do is up to you. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna walk around this island, or maybe fly around the island and just see what we have. So if we fly upwards, the island is almost as big as half the city. In fact, it is... Actually, no, it's almost as big as the whole city. So there's the island there. We're looking at that as the exercise area. And there appears to be a hill... Oh, I don't want it to rain. There appears to be a hill at the back, and it slopes down to the front here, right? So the bridge is here. There's a bit of a natural lake here. Not sure if I want to keep this, especially since it's so close to the bridge. But it slopes down here to the water, which might be something we want to keep in mind. There's all sorts of different trees here. Not huge trees, but there's oaks and birches back here. Is that a... Oh, it's a cave. We don't want that neither, I don't think. Let's just think about all the things that we're seeing. So there's a bit of water back here, more forest over there. So as we build this park, we're going to be pretty much right next to a natural forest. There's a bit of a cliff here, and this is not part of your exercise, although, if you really, really want to, I guess you can do something with that. But that's not really part of the exercise. A few animals around here, not that important. And then back here, there is a sort of a hill, right? Up here, and then alright, there's a hill here, and then there's a bit more behind it. See, that is very interesting, isn't it? That thing there, it's a bit also gravity defying, but that's okay. And then back here there is more forest. There's a bit of a hill there too. That's again not part of your exercise. Let's see. And then there's the plains that's behind the city, out in that direction. There is a massive cave back here. Not sure how I feel about this, but there is a massive cave behind the mountain at the back of the island, and then here we can see the back of the temple and the side of the mausoleum. And then there's the bridge. And then there's this. Alright, so there's a hill on one side, it slopes down to the ocean. Let me just see this, and then it slopes up and down a little bit. Over here. I wonder... And then back here, we have the hill. Let's see, there's a lot of trees. I think we're gonna have to remove some trees. There's too many trees here, I think. Let me just fly up here a little bit. So there's a hill here. You can see over the treetops. And there's a pig on that tree. You can see over the treetops on this hill. Interesting. And then back here there's the giant hole in the ground. Right? So we need to think about what we want to do. I know the hole in the ground is back the other way. There's a lot of trees up here. You don't necessarily have to use the entire island, by the way. I mean, you can just kind of leave a bit of it wild and just use a part of it. So the hole in the ground is back here. I'm not sure I want to deal with this, to be honest. I think I might just remove it. What's down here? Nothing. It's just a... There's no cave down here. There's water pouring in there. That's not really anything useful. I might fill some of this in. What's this? There's a bit of a cave back here. I'm not gonna work with the caves because that's gonna be a little bit too complicated. Although you can. I guess you can like have a cave. Or at least an artificial cave in here as well. This is getting more and more complicated all the time, isn't it? Alright, well this is the site we have to deal with. What I'm thinking, or my initial idea, is to have maybe like a lake up here, and then like maybe a series of waterfalls, and then the water flowing down out into the ocean here, and then maybe somewhere in the middle we can have a geometric lake or fountain or something, and then maybe paths around. You know, that would probably kind of split the island into like one part, and then two parts, and then three parts. So that there'd be like a mountainous part up there. There'll be a central kind of a lake / fountain, and then there'll be two other side things here. So maybe I'll just split the island into three parts, with like a stream and a lake and a series of cascading waterfalls running through it. Does that sound like a good idea? It sounds like a good idea to me. I think that means we have to change quite a lot of this. I'm not too sure how to go about that. This tree is a bit awkward up here. Let me just continue to look around a little bit. This giant thing I don't know what to do about. We'll leave that there for now and think about it. Where should the lake be? Let's just say, let's start with putting a lake at the top of the hill here somewhere. Maybe I should start here because we have this interesting location. Maybe the water can come out of the mountain, or out of the hill here, waterfall its way into like a lake here. Maybe I have to add a little bit of dirt there to enclose this lake, and then maybe have it tunnel out this way. So there'll be like a natural lake, and then there'll be like an artificial lake in the middle, and then it'll continue flowing out that way. Maybe I'll do that. Should we try that? Alright, let's start shaping the land. Mostly we'll be removing stuff, first of all. Let me just grab water buckets and dirt. Alright, let's see what happens. We need to remove some of these trees in the middle. So I don't have much of a plan, although I have some ideas. Not sure if you can kind of see what I'm imagining yet, but I guess you will pretty soon. To remove more trees. There's too many trees. What we need is to set up areas where you can kind of get a good view of the surroundings. And to do that, we need to kind of remove some of the obstructions here. Right? So these trees we want to get rid of. We'll get rid of the flowers and grass and things. Alright, so where would this lake be and how high should the lake... It should come out, probably I should make the lake quite high because we want it to cascade downwards into the next artificial lake. So if we want it to be the water level to be like here, which means we need to close this off in this direction. Let me just do this roughly. And get rid of some of these trees. Ooh, capitals. Time set day. Get rid of this tree as well. And what is this? Oh, it's just leaves. Get rid of this tree. We can plant the trees back later on if we are sad about removing too many of them. Let's punch that out of the way. So I said I want the trees to be, the dirt here to be at this level, right? So let's put some dirt here. See if I can make a lake this tall. Maybe this needs to fill in a little bit. So we can fill that in a little bit more. See, this hill over here is actually this high anyway, so maybe this is appropriate. Let's put that there. Is this tree in the wrong place? I guess that can be there. And then this needs to come around and be enclosed on this side. What do we do about this side? I think what we do is just... How big do we want this lake to be? I guess we want it to come around and like that. Alright, let's try this. Let's just try something like that. If we can just remove some of these leaves. Thank you very much. So we're trying to go for something naturalistic, but not exactly natural because obviously this is completely landscaped and shaped and not as it originally is. That's okay. And then I guess we'll have to come down to like there. Just drop some dirt around here, drop some dirt around here. Maybe this tree needs to go. Let's remove that, drop some more dirt. Around there maybe. And on this side, we need to be... I'm gonna fill most of this in. I'm gonna fill... I might make this lake even shallower than this, I'm not sure. It's a bit strange to have such a deep lake. We'll see. Alright, let me just block in the dirt. That pig just fell out of the sky. Well, you know what they say, pigs can't actually fly, so... if they're in the sky, I guess they just fall out of it. Alright, so then this would be like... there maybe? Maybe like there, like that. And then on the other side, maybe like um, that. Maybe not quite so much. Maybe this tree, well, those leaves can go. I guess this tree can remain. Let me fill this in. Why is... oh, I see. We'll just block it in roughly for now, and then we'll figure out the rest of it once we've got most of this filled in. Alright, there's that. Probably needs more dirt around here. Smooth that out a little bit. Looks good to me. Alright, let's continue. And come around here like that. And then this probably comes around here. Like that, maybe. I guess, like, why is this... oh yeah. Let's bring that around. This probably needs to stick out a bit more, doesn't it? Not quite enough space back here. Let's put more stuff around there. That might be a bit much. Put that there, and then fill in the middle. So this is landscaping, right? We're shaping the land, literally shaping the land. Not quite how you do it in real life, but I guess the effects are similar at the end. And just fill that in there. And then think about how this looks. Let's see, fill that in. And then block that in there. Alright, I don't think we're done, but let's see how that looks. So the inside I think looks fairly good. Maybe I want to round this out a little bit. Just to make it look natural, even though it wasn't like this naturally. Because again, landscaping is not really about being completely natural, but making things look natural. So this looks a little bit thin over here. So out here, that's probably where the water's going to pour out anyway, so we're going to remove that again afterwards. But here, this is a bit thin, so we're going to kind of strengthen this a little bit by kind of bulking this up here. And then kind of bringing this around and just putting dirt all through there. So it looks a little less thin, right? So we want to thicken this up. And then there. Now, how do we feel about that? Probably needs a bit more bulking up here. Put that in. Not bad. This probably needs a little bit more. And I feel like this kind of needs a bit more here too. Let me just bulk this up. Put more dirt in there. This tree can go for now. We can plant it back later on if we want. Alright, let's just fill this. Because, I mean, if you want it to look realistic, like, you can't hold back a lot of water with just a little bit of dirt. So if you want to build an artificial lake in real life, which you can, like if you make a reservoir by building a dam, the dam needs to be quite substantial to hold back the water, even in real life. So if you want things to look believable, then you need your dam to look pretty thick, or at least look thick enough to hold back the water. Let's do that there. Thicken that up a little bit. Time set day. Let's see how this looks. That's okay, that's not too bad. This seems a little bit too straight here. But we might be able to do something with this. Let's leave that for now. So the water in here is going to be this tall. Now I don't know if they've made the water easier to fill. Let me just drop water in. And drop water in there. Alright, we got that. Can I just drop water in on top, like this? No. See, this is the problem with Minecraft water, is that you can't just drop water on top of other water. Like, it won't. Actually, it does. Never mind, it'll fill in. You can't drop it on top, but it will fill in. Oh, that's good, it'll fill in by itself. So let me just put that there, put that there. Well, that's convenient. Let me just drop a block there so it fills. It doesn't quite fill. But we can fix that. Alright, so now we have water all there. And then next, we're going to put water all around there. Can I do this? Oh, I can. Good. Good. Convenient. This is probably not obvious, but water works... Oh, I should probably explain. The way the water works in Minecraft is that... Let's say if I put... Actually, no, that's not. Let's see if I put a 4x4 hole. So if you put water there, there's a block of water there and it flows towards where there's no water. It doesn't actually fill in. It doesn't actually kind of pool. It just continues flowing, right, from where there is water to where there isn't water. And if we kind of put the dirt where the water was, then the water will stop flowing. So water just flows continuously. If you put that side by side, then there's water there and water there. It's flowing to where there isn't water, but it doesn't fill in. Now the thing is, oh crap. Now the thing is, if there's an empty block and there's 2 bits of water next to it, then it will fill in. That turns into water and that turns into water. So if I block this now and remove that, that's actually a water source. So there's water source and there's water flow. The sources will duplicate if there's 2 other sources. So if there's an empty block with 2 sources adjacent, then it'll fill in, it'll become a water source. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's enough for you to understand what's going on. Probably just try to experiment a little bit, and maybe you'll figure it out eventually. It is a little bit complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too difficult. So what happens when I... See, what's happening here is that what I'm doing is I'm putting a source there and there, for example, and so then it fills this in, and because there's already a water source there, it fills the next one in, and then it makes a source, and then there's a source there, and it makes the new source is there, and the next one it fills in, and it fills in, and it fills in. So you can kind of, you put one in, and then it just kind of sweeps across, and it fills in the rest for you, like that, there, because there's there's already water sources next to it. So every new one creates the next one. So if you figure out how that works, you can kind of very quickly fill in water. Okay, so the idea is that the water is coming out of the mountain here, which means I need a waterfall here. So let's get rid of that tree. And I think what I want to do is... maybe like fill that in. Should I keep this tree? I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep this tree. Let me just flatten out. I want to destroy these trees. Hold on. Let me just remove this one. And let me just fill in the top of this hill a little bit. I don't know if you guys know how fountains work or natural water springs work. So inside the earth, there's layers. Usually there's layers. And some layers are more permeable to water and some layers are not permeable to water. And what happens is if you have a layer of rock that is permeable to water, which means the rock is not that solid, there's like holes in the rock or something. And the permeable layer is sandwiched between two impermeable layers, then the water will flow through the permeable layer. Let me just kind of try to represent this. So imagine you have sand. I mean, sand, water can kind of seep through the sand, right? And then you might have granite. And water can't go through granite. So imagine if in the ground you have a layer of granite, and then a layer of sand, and then a layer of granite on top. Then water that's in the sand will kind of flow through the sand between the granites. So what happens when you have a cliff, maybe like, you know, here, and maybe there's a lake up here, and then the water seeps underground and then flows back out here. So then that's how springs happen, is because somewhere further along there's like there's a lake or some sort of river, and then the river or the lake kind of goes underground through a permeable layer in the rock and then comes back out the side of a mountain. So sometimes you kind of have springs in the side of the mountain. Usually not quite this big, but that's how this sort of thing happens. Usually it's not quite this impressive though. Maybe I should make it less impressive. That's a little bit too impressive. Let me just fill that in there, put that in there. Alright. So we're gonna pretend... oops. We're gonna pretend that there's some sort of spring here and the water is coming out of the mountain. Even though it wouldn't work like this, because there kind of has to be water collecting up there in order for it to flow out somewhere down here. So this wouldn't happen in real life. What would happen is if there's like a big mountain here, massive mountain, then maybe inside the mountain there are layers of, you know, water trapped inside the mountain that kind of flows through the mountain out the side. So this doesn't happen in real life. So this would be, if you see this in real life, this would have to be an artificial kind of somebody's pumping water out of the ground here. Because there's no mountains. Sometimes if there's that's too much data. Anyway, if you're interested, then just gonna look it up on Wikipedia. Look it up on Wikipedia and you'll figure it out, or you'll learn about it. Alright, so we got this. We have a lake up here, which, you know, is actually quite big, if you really think about it. That's a massive lake. You know, on the one hand, this island is quite big. On the other hand, once you start putting stuff in, you very quickly run out of space, right? So we want an artificial lake. I think I want to fill this in. I'm not sure I want this to be on the island anymore. So let me just come down here and just completely fill this in. There was another underground lake, wasn't there? Further along. I think I'll remove this because I don't really want this here. And then let me fill that in. What is happening down here? Alright. Alright, let's see, let's put in one more layer. Hello cow. Minecraft animals. Alright, let's fill all that in. I mean, sometimes you might choose to work with the natural features you find in the landscape, and that's usually, I guess that's more sensible and more economical because you're not having to move a lot of things around, especially in real life. But you know, the bridge is right here, so the entry to the park is right here, and it's kind of like the water was in the way. Yeah, but often if you're kind of designing something in real life, you might want to just keep what's already there because it's more convenient to do so. Let me think. So we did say that we're gonna split the park into 3 areas, like one area there, one area here, one area there. But just looking at how big the lake is, I might make the lake the focus of one of these areas. And if I do, I'm not sure. Alright, I'm sure. What I think I'll do is I'll make the artificial lake here. And then have the water flow down to the artificial lake and then have it flow out to the ocean out there. So there'll be like a mountain region, and then maybe like a plains region, and then maybe there'll be like a formal region. So this will be like a square lake, and then there'll be like maybe like a formal garden here, and then maybe like more like a naturalistic landscape there, and then maybe like a Chinese garden up here with mountains and trees. Let's try that. I think that might be a interesting way to do this. So we want this to be... Let's remove the trees. Let's get rid of some of this stuff because we need some space to put the lake down. And because we're going to make a formal garden in this third anyway, we're going to have to replant all the trees in geometric patterns. Alright, let's just remove. With trees, if you're not familiar with Minecraft, if you remove the trunk of the tree, eventually the leaves will disappear. So you don't really have to destroy all the leaves by hand. Although, you know, it's faster if you do, of course. Alright, so the lake is there. Now, where should I put this? And I probably should raise this up a little bit. Let me raise this a little bit because I want to put the lake on this level, I think. Let me remove some of this. And then let me just fly up again. So when you're working with kind of a formal garden, a geometric garden, often you'll be looking down at it from above. Because the geometry is in the plan. So you kind of look down at it and you want to draw shapes in the ground from above. Whereas if you're working with a Chinese garden, or even a landscape garden, then you would want to be designing from the ground because you care about what it looks like from the ground, right? So, you know, different design philosophies result in different designing methods as well. You want to kind of look at it from the perspective of what you're interested in. So here we're designing from above because we're going to look down at this thing from above to figure out the shapes of it. Alright, so let's see. I think I wanna... Probably want to fill this in a little bit as well. Let me just come over here and move that. Is that enough? Alright, so how should we do this? Should we line this up with anything? No. It's too far away from the bridge for it to make sense to line up with the bridge. So let's just draw a square here. Or something. Starting right there. How many blocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. A 9 by 9 square artificial lake? Is that a good idea? Well, I mean, it can be the idea for now, and then we'll kind of change it later on if we have to. And maybe we'll just make it 2 blocks deep. Just so that it's not like just, you know, a shallow pond of water. Let's actually make it a slightly more substantial lake in here. Oh, and you notice that the rain doesn't actually pool. So you don't get a pool of water from the rain, from the sky. Another thing about Minecraft that you might want to know about? It's a bit small. But let's not be too ambitious, because the island's gonna run out of space pretty soon if we make things too massive. Alright, so we're gonna continue filling that in, and then filling that in. So you see how it fills itself in once you have, you know, 2 sides. There's something to keep in mind if you're working with water in Minecraft. Alright, so now we need a kind of like a cascading waterfall down here somehow. Not sure how this will work. And the thing with the cascading waterfall is that we needed to transition from like a naturalistic Chinese garden style of landscape down into a geometric French style sort of landscape. So somewhere along the way, this cascading waterfall has to transition from one sort of geometry to the other, which is going to make it very interesting. And I don't even know how we want to do this. Maybe... Alright, let me just remove some trees here. I think let's start with the geometric part first, because that's fairly straightforward. I think what I'll do is I'll have the water come diagonally out this side. Fascinating. And then, like, out to the ocean. And let me just fill this in. So the water, let me just fill this in. So yeah, so the water just kind of comes out diagonally. Very, very geometric. Extremely geometric. And so then it comes over here also diagonally. Let's make it wider. It's a little bit weird how narrow that is. Let's make it 1 block wider on either side. So we're gonna have to bridge over this at some point, which will be interesting architecturally. Alright, so there's that. And then on the other side it also is diagonally coming over like this. Am I doing that right? Oops, that's not right there. Wait a minute. Oh, that's not right there neither. Wow. Okay, that's more like it. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And so then that's gonna join up there. Geometry, how interesting. Just fill all that in with water. Where's that going? Stop there, stop there. Alright, good. And then we needed to cascade down here. Or actually no, that should be there as well. Now we need to cascade it down, which is a long way away. That's a long way to cascade. I'm wondering if I should like have it flow down one side and then flow down the other side and then have it meet back together at the base of this hill. That seems like an interesting arrangement. And then maybe we can like put a pavilion on this little island created by the water that's surrounded on both sides. That sounds so interesting, doesn't it? Alright, let me just there's not much space for the pavilion though. Let me do that. Block that off, kind of. Block that off a little bit, like maybe like that. Nope, like that. So pretend there's a little thing on the hill here, and then the water flows down either side. Need to get rid of some of these trees. Alright, you're out of here. You are getting out of there, and then on the other side we are getting rid of... Let's just get rid of some of this stuff. We can replant you guys later on. If I want you. That is. Alright, let's get rid of those. Not really sure if I build a pavilion there, how we'll get to the pavilion from here. We can probably figure that out later on. Alright, so there's that. And then I guess the water kind of goes around here, like that, and then it goes down. Just check, remove that, and remove that, and probably that even. And then it's gonna come, so it needs to stay on this level. I need to fill some of this in because there's not enough space for the water. To fill some of that in. So that we can carve a channel of water down here. Alright, what are we doing? We're here. We're gonna do that. And then we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna do this, kind of. Maybe this can be a little bit higher up there. And then we're gonna come around to there. Let me just double check this before I put the water in. I think it's gonna fill that in a little bit. How about the other side? Just look at it from all angles. This is good. Alright, so let's fill the water in here. I'm gonna do that, and that, and do that. And then make sure that's filled in, that's great. And then make sure all this is filled in. That is also great. And then get that there, and that there, awesome. Other side. It's a bit odd there, isn't it? It's a little bit odd. Um. Hmm. That's probably a little bit better. Let's see. Maybe that should be straightened out. Alright, so there's that, and then we're gonna fill this in. And then finally, how do we get from there to here? Alright, I guess we need to get rid of some of this dirt. Some of that dirt. Maybe even that one. And then there's some of that there, and then some of that there. Yes. Alright, let's fill this in. Make sure we get the water in the right place. Get this water in the right place. Alright, excellent. Let's do that too. So now we have a lake up here that flows down around this little now island, and then flows into this geometrical shape, and then comes out the other side. Alright, so that is the water arrangement. Is that good? How do we feel about that? I think so. I think that's kind of interesting. There's a bit of water there. There's no water here at all, though. Is that a problem? Probably not. Probably not. We might have like a lawn here, and then some kind of trees around it, and then geometric thing there, and then maybe some pavilions up here. Because from here, if we get rid of the right trees in the strategic locations, we can kind of look back at the city from this direction. Like you can see that elephant there. You can kind of, especially if you put a pavilion and if we line it up with this road, then we can see down this road, which is better than, say, putting a pavilion over here and you kind of really can't see anything. So if we kind of put the pavilion in the right place, then there'll be a nice view back to the city, which is important. What else? What else? Alright. I think... Let me just double check. Oh, this light. Let's just fill this in since we're here. We don't want this at all. This thing down here. Let's get rid of this thing. Oh wow, it's quite deep. Alright, we definitely don't want this in the ground because we're gonna do other things with this area. It's a massive underground lake. What am I? Oh, I'm stuck under that thing. Alright, filling stuff in. This happens in real life sometimes too, like you'll find holes in the ground, which is quite inconvenient. Some cities have massive caves underground. Hong Kong is one of those cities where, like, a long time ago, there used to be volcanoes in Hong Kong, but that's a long time ago. But what happens is that was it volcanoes? Maybe it's not. No, this is a long time ago. Maybe it's not volcanoes, but back when the sea level was lower, like this must have been like in the last ice age or something. When the sea level was lower, caves formed underneath Hong Kong because the water was it flows through these underground rivers out to sea, right? And where the underground rivers were, the caves were carved underneath Hong Kong. And then as the sea level rose, these caves became flooded and kind of filled with a loose mud. But then, if you kind of try to drive piles, so skyscrapers require foundations, and so you kind of drive piles down into the ground for these skyscrapers. Sometimes they just kind of fall into one of these caves, and then they fall through the loose mud, and then you just kind of lose the pile. Like you're driving these metal things into the ground to provide a foundation for your skyscraper, but as you kind of drive through, like all of a sudden you just kind of lose this thing as it drops into the ground underneath, because it's a kind of a cave with loose mud underneath. So that kind of thing happens in real life too. Like there's a cave underground, and as you kind of try to dig down or you try to kind of put a foundation down, all of a sudden your whole foundation disappears underneath you because you drive through the cave, and it just falls into the cave underneath. So yeah, that happens sometimes in real life. Okay, so let me just think about this. So the entrance is here. I guess we want a kind of a lawn, and I guess we want some meandering paths. Maybe like paths around, maybe like a. Well, we want main. Let's see. We want main paths that link up the three areas. We want a path linking up to this area, and then we want. I guess we want a main path to go as a loop around the whole island, and then we want some side paths that take you to some interesting sites around the island. Maybe I should just start designing the geometric part first, because this is the... You can make other things fit into the geometry easier than you can make the geometry fit into the other things. Alright, so we've kind of put the water in. And I think I'll take a break here. In the next video, I think we'll start designing this geometric area. And it's gonna be probably like that big. I guess we'll put the corner there and it'll be like that big. And we'll put paths in, and then we'll link up the paths, and then we'll design the other areas. This might be a pretty big project. This is, I mean, you can see the size of this site is significantly bigger than all of the other exercises so far. So expect to spend a lot of time on this. Alright, I'll end this video here. When we come back, let's go design some geometric landscape gardens. I'll see you guys.